The New York Times blew the lid off of a tremendous story which basically details modern-day slave conditions at nail salons. So they say, first of all, you have virtually the entire industry built on undocumented immigrant labor. You have undocumented immigrant workers who are absolutely exploited, and they don't know that they have rights. They don't know that essentially what's happening is they're being used. They don't know just how much they're getting screwed over. So they describe race as a big factor in this as well. They say there's a, quote, rigid racial hierarchy involved in nail salons. They say Koreans make the most money because the salons are mostly Korean-owned, and then if they hire somebody and the person's Korean, they'll get better pay than the other workers. Then they say right underneath Koreans is Chinese people, so Chinese immigrants will get worse pay than Koreans, but better than some of the other people. And at the bottom, they have Hispanic workers. So they'll hire Hispanic workers and pay them significantly less than Chinese workers and Korean workers. And oftentimes, get this, just to get the job working at a nail salon, workers need to pay the owner. So they make them pay him a couple $100. They basically make him pay everything that they have. And then they say to them, well, there's a period of a few months where you make nothing. So you pay me, you work for a few months and you make nothing, and this is your tryout period. And then when that's completed, you might get $30 a day for working 12-hour days. This is going on in the United States of America right now. And you know what they say? It's actually worse in the bigger cities. So New York City is the worst offender. Then you have L.A., some places in California that are terrible offenders. The Chicago area is a bad offender. They actually say in, places more in middle America, they make like double the wages. The workers are still getting exploited, but they make like double the wages compared to what they make in like New York City and L.A. So this is an insane story, man. I had absolutely no clue about this. They say, quote, workers endure all manner of humiliation, including having their tips docked as punishment for minor transgressions, constant video monitoring by owners, even physical abuse. Employers are rarely punished for labor and other violations. So they even have, like, living circumstances that are essentially like the old school tenement housing. Like you have 6 people in a 1-bedroom apartment or 10 people in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. And then, again, they pay the workers to show up and work. And then maybe later on they get $30 a day for doing 12 hours worth of work. And essentially what it is, and the New York Times describes it this way, it's like a modern system of slavery. I mean, they're getting paid way under minimum wage. They're terribly exploited. And it's just, it's just been happening for the longest time. So the main takeaway when I read through this is very simple. This is exactly why government is supposed to exist. This is exactly the kind of thing government should get involved with. To stop this, I mean, you need to really crack down on the owners of these nail salons. That's the idea. We used to do that back in the day. We never used to go after undocumented immigrants themselves. We used to, with federal policy, go after the business owners who exploit the undocumented immigrants. Well, today, I mean, what are we doing? We're sitting around with our thumbs up our asses looking at a situation which is described as modern-day slavery, and none of us even fucking knew about it. None of us knew about it. And they also say that, like, the average price for a manicure or something like that, or manicure and pedicure, they say it's like $10. Probably just for a manicure, but I'm just guessing here. I don't remember exactly how they laid it out in the article. But, I mean, the bottom line is, what? All the, let's face it, for the most part, rich white women, or at least middle-class white women who are going to these nail salons, they can afford to pay double, triple what they're paying right now, and, the workers should be able to at least make a living wage. I mean, isn't that amazing? We have in America right now, the minimum wage does not equal a living wage. So even if they were making $7.25 an hour, that's not enough to survive. But not only are they not making the minimum wage, which is not equal to a living wage, they're making less than the minimum wage. They're paying the boss to work for them. That's worse than slavery. At least with slavery, you have a system where nobody gets paid anything. You're just forced to work. This is like, I'll pay you and then you force me to work. This is in 2015 in the United States of America. Look, man, I get it. Is there a lot of fucked up shit going on overseas? Yes. Are some of the shit going on overseas even worse than some of the shit going on over here? Yes, no question about it. But one of the main arguments that you hear from people like myself and other progressives is, let's get our own house in order, especially before we try to do this crazy idea which doesn't even make any sense of exporting our values and our ideology and democracy. This is what we want to export? Slavery at nail salons, that's what we want to export. Forget about all the crazy shit we do in foreign policy. Forget about all the trillions of dollars that we waste with war and corporate welfare and things of that nature. Let's focus here at home and fix all the tremendous problems that we have. And this should be high on the list. The government needs to crack down and make sure that these workers make a living wage.